Hey there, Fai here with a quick illustration of what these programmed responses are about and how they differ from hardwired responses. So the example we've got here is that when you go out and buy a new car, I'm sure you've been there, done that, you're looking for a particular model and suddenly it seems to be everywhere. Now, this is because your brain has a part of the brain, or there's a complex mechanism that filters in information that is on your mind. It is important to you at this point. And I've first experienced this not with a car, but when my wife was pregnant with our first son, Finn. She developed a bump and suddenly there were bumps everywhere, which was kind of surprising because those bumps hadn't been there beforehand. And then, of course, once Finn was born, there were prams everywhere. Before then, I'm sure there were prams, but I seem to have been weaving around them without ever paying attention to them. And that is the key insight here. Our brain can be programmed to let in certain bits of information and filter out other bits of information that are that's not important to us at a particular point in time. And we can use this in our marketing and selling and qualifying. You can of course also exploit this, and a lot of people who do exploitative marketing then look at the hardwired responses where you basically use things like scarcity and urgency and free, where you basically have no choice. They're always there, they're always on, which is incidentally why they have been developed in the first place. This is the big one common denominator, hardwired responses. Anyway, I want to give you one little insight. They come in different categories, if you like, and one of them illustrates a problem you need to be aware of. When you use these programmed responses, the category we've got here is the one of the shoulds. A should is when you have someone who knows they should be doing something, but they haven't done it, or they're not doing it. And they're not doing it because there are obstacles, they may have tried it in the past, they may have failed. And the mindset that then develops and is there is that, oh man, this is hard. I know I should be doing this. There's some kind of level of guilt or shame around this, but they're not willing to move forward. And it's not willing in a sort of way where they decide it's, this seems to be too hard, and that's why I'm not moving forward. So when you look at these hardwired or semi-hardwired programmed responses, be aware of what the response could be, so you can then get people to pick them up where they're at and move them forward, and don't run them, push them into an obstacle they are not wanting or willing to face at that point. To round this whole thing out, there's a bigger picture here. The programmed responses are part of one framework of 5 frameworks we're using to speak to an audience, and this goes throughout the entire process, from contemplation through research to planning and then finally execution. And you can use them in different forms and shapes, but you need to be aware of what they are. So that's why I'm showing you the quick overview here. And there are programmed responses, the ones we've looked at. Then you've got value, which is, in a positive sense, you can use to really talk to the value that's important to people. Because what you see a lot is where marketers, people wanting to sell their wares, compensate for lack of understanding of what is truly valuable to someone by saying, hey, this free report is worth $97. Well, no report is worth $97. No information is worth $97. The implementation and execution that then gets results is worth something. And the result, that is what is valuable. Then, of course, you've got the journey, which is roughly encapsulated in the journey people go through when they go from contemplation through research, through planning to finally execution. But in general, the big picture is people face an obstacle, and now they are looking for someone to guide them over the obstacles that are pretty much guaranteed to be there on the path to finding the solution to their problem. The next one we've got is perception preference, which is related to the format system, where you basically need to be aware that people have different ways of looking at the world. Some are more hands-on oriented, others need to know the reason why, and so on. And the last one we've got is personality type, which is all about the underlying reasons why people do things. There are different personality types that have a core question, or they have different core questions that make them do things, but also stop them from taking action. And that's what you need to be aware of when you put out your message, because when you exclusively communicate in your own way of thinking and acting and making decisions, you are leaving a lot of people out who go, well, this is not for me. All of this you can use in a very positive way, and that's what we do here, but you can also do it in an exploitative way, which is unfortunately what's being done in a lot of marketing, and that's why we're highlighting these different things here. Programmed responses, a lot of marketing uses hardwired responses because it is guaranteed to get a response. Value, again, a lot of marketers just stack on the value, and at some point people go, oh man, in the absence of having any information to make a proper decision, I'm just looking at this massive value, all these bonuses, and as a result I'm taking action. The journey, again, a lot of exploitative marketing then goes, well, imagine this, and painting pleasing pictures, and so on and on and on. So you can always use this in a positive way and also in a negative way. Alrighty, this is the big overview over programmed responses, how it all fits into the big picture, plus a little warning that when you use things like programmed responses and value and journey, you not only can use it in a positive or negative way, but also it can elicit some kind of response, and you need to be aware of this. Alrighty, cheers, bye.